But in our next topic, we're going to talk about selling your Tesla, or you're even trading in your vehicle, what to do. And really the thing is, should you trade into, or should you sell it to a private party and get a little bit more money, or trade it into Tesla? Or really the best thing I actually recommend these days is selling to a dealer. So we'll talk about that and all the different strategies on why and what risks you might actually run into, because it could be a little bit dangerous to sell a vehicle to a private party at the end of the day, and we'll talk about why. But if you're just joining in, my name is Dennis. I love talking about Tesla hacking, as I like to call it, but basically just getting the best deal on Tesla at the best financing rate. So definitely hit that subscribe if you're interested. And today's video is actually sponsored by my Patreon link down below in the description, but more on that later. All right, so let us take a look at this. Shout out to Car Sales Guy on Twitter. They posted this. Do you want to maximize your car's value and sell it to a private party? Think again. And actually, there was a tweet here that actually was deleted, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. But the second tweet was, selling your car can be risky, and unless you're leaving a lot of money on the table, sell it to a dealer. But the really thing with that is there's a caveat with dealer, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But quote, use CarMax, Carvana, and Driveway to assess your car value's worth, and email dealers what you need to make a deal. Yes, 100%. Use these big box retailers like CarMax, Carvana, and Driveway to get some sort of preliminary value. I always recommend Car Buyer USA, because they are just like CarMax but online only, and you can actually put in any sort of value of any vehicle right here at the front page. You can actually pull it down to like Tesla Model Y long range. You can just put down any sort of mileage, and that's actually where you can stop. You can just hit get offer. You can notice I didn't put any of the state, title, or anything like that, and it says that they would pay me $47,000 or $47,700 for a 2022 Tesla Model Y long range, which is kind of interesting, right? Because a brand new version of this is $52,000, so factoring a tax credit. Interesting. But anyways, besides the point. But that's really, it's a great website to get a preliminary value, a initial starting number, and then that's where you can take that number and email a bunch of local dealers around you. That's what I actually recommend. I recommend focusing on dealer lots that have good reviews, and I'll talk about that why in a little bit, and just really send them your offer details. Like, this is the vehicle I have, this is the number I want, maybe add $1,000 or $2,000 on top of this Car Buyer USA offer, and see which dealers will actually play ball with you. Because at the end of the day, these local dealers that sell used cars only, they need your car, because if they don't buy it from you, they're going to go to the auction and any other places to try and buy a vehicle and buy inventory to then resell to other people. So they're willing to pay you a little bit more than anybody else would, just like how CarMax usually will pay you the most sometimes. But the other thing on top of that, like trading into Tesla, I've heard recently has been pretty fruitful. Like, Tesla is starting to step up and maximize and give better values on trade-ins. So, you know, also check out Tesla. And also there's places, many states will have some sort of trade-in credit in which you save on the sales tax on the new vehicle. So definitely research that before you do that. Of course, like, I know states like Maryland has it for sure. California unfortunately doesn't, and so it really would make sense to just sell it to a local dealer. But selling to a private party can have its I've done it a handful of times, and thankfully, knock on wood, it's been a pretty smooth process every single time. But yeah, you definitely want to be worried about it, because make sure you've got your ducks in a row, buyer's orders with you know, not sold as is clauses and things like that, so that you don't, you know, have to worry about that person coming back and trying to get a refund or anything like that. But as long as you've got your documentation, buyer's orders signed and everything, and if you need any of those documents, check out my Patreon link down below in the description, where you can access to that. You can DM me and ask me any questions and get that buyer's order or how to sell a used car. But that's really what you could do. But the other thing with selling it to a dealer or a private dealer is you want to make sure that that private dealer has good reviews, because there are cases, and it's kind of, I don't know if you've seen any of the content on YouTube right now, where Carvana is getting flagged for basically reselling vehicles without titles or fraudulent titles. And so that can happen really to any dealer that does not have their paperwork and ducks in a row. They could be buying vehicles and not paying off the liens or anything like that. And so you really have to be worried about, be aware about which dealers you actually interact with to sell your vehicle. That's why I always try to first focus on dealers that have good reviews, and also make sure they pay off your vehicle within a week or two or anything like that. But definitely some pretty interesting stuff. Let me know what your thoughts on it. Just a little bit of a PSA on where to sell your vehicle, whether it's Tesla or trading in or wherever. But let me know what your thoughts. Like, have you traded into Tesla recently, and did they step up on your selling your vehicle to get a better deal? But we're going to jump into the live stream comments. But before we do that, this video is actually sponsored by my Patreon link. Down below in the description is a Patreon link where you support the channel, and there's a variety of benefits, so definitely check it out if you're interested. And as an added benefit on the Patreon link or Patreon group, I respond to any questions in DMs about buying a Tesla, selling a Tesla, or financing a Tesla. So if you just want to ask a quick question, check it out, Patreon link for any of my members down below.